And welcome in to the Dan McShane Show as we get you set for high school football here on WBCB with the coach of the Pennsbury Falcons. And Dan, before we start talking about the Neshaminy Redskins and last week's game, I want to start the show by talking about where we're broadcasting from here today at the studios of the Pennsbury Channel. And the Pennsbury Channel students did a great job helping to produce our high school football coverage here on WBCB throughout the season, and they deserve a lot of credit. And it's great to be here. I'm with you for the first time this season,
right?
And I somehow got the best location and the best best assignment, I think.
I still miss the smell of the chlorine over at the pool in the field house, but this is pretty nice,
Coach McShane,
thank you.
Want to thank you for being with us here today, and it's brought to you by Aria Health, your friends and neighbors in Bucks County, along with the Continental Tavern in the heart of Yardley at the corner of Main and Afton. And we also want to say thank you to the Pennsbury Regional Basketball League, PRBLonline.com, to register for the Pennsbury Regional Basketball League. We thank them for being with us here on the Dan McShane Show. So let's talk about last week's game. You guys came on furiously in the second half, had a chance to win that game. Can you encapsulate what happened in the final couple minutes of that contest?
Well, it's pretty bizarre. I mean, we were going fast and lots of things were happening, and we felt confident moving the ball on the ground and in the air, and at that point in the game, and we did both, and we got down there, and I've been around. I've seen pro games and college games, and it gets very hectic, and timeouts and kill the clocks and stay in bounds, get out of bounds, whatever. So it was a lot going on.
It really came right down to the wire, and unfortunately Pennsbury on the wrong end of that game. What was the feeling like in the locker room? What has been going on this week that you've seen that says this team is still ready to fight on and ready to take on the Neshaminy program?
Well, it's one word right there. It's Neshaminy. That's going on, and so throw out the records. But we're still alive. We got a shot to get in the playoffs. We told you to communicate that very clearly to the kids that we're playing to continue our season. And after the game, it was tough. We put a lot into it, and I told the kids though, we've you gave me all you have, and that's all you can give, and so we're really happy with that.
You guys have been pouring a lot into the second halves of the games because Pennsbury has kind of had a slow start at times throughout this season. Is that something that as coaches you guys have talked with the team about, and what do you think is at play there?
Yeah, we're very concerned, obviously, and the good thing is we did get it going at some point, but the slow starts have kind of, and on both sides of the ball, but primarily we all know it's been the offensive side that we kind of we're working on. We got a lot of guys playing their first year of varsity football, and not to make any excuses, but it's the whole level of varsity speed and playing in a Frankfurt game versus a Abington quasi playoff game type of thing. It's the intensity ratchets up quite a bit, so our kids are learning to kind of get there.
Well, and the intensity will ratchet up another notch this week as you guys take on the Neshaminy Redskins. They're undefeated, but it is a rivalry game, and you throw those records out the window. And I'm sure that the excitement, the anticipation, I think, is always there for this matchup, regardless of what the situation is.
Yeah, well, the greatest example is last year where they came in and they had to win to get in, and they did, and it was an eye-opening experience for us. We were rolling along with a really good season and potentially a high seed in the playoffs, and they came in and beat us, and I told the kids we could do the same thing, absolutely.
Well, we want to talk about what you see that you guys are looking at as far as the Neshaminy offense and the Neshaminy defense. And but first, we'll step aside quickly, and we'll be right back for more of the Dan McShane Show, getting you set for high school football here on WBCB.
ER Express is the newest online reservation system for patients in Bucks County with non-life-threatening illnesses or conditions to reserve a time online to be treated at ARIA's Fast Care, Urgent Care, or emergency departments. ER Express streamlines evaluations so patients are treated more quickly, and best of all, it holds your reservation while you're in the comfort of your own home. Please remember, patients who experience major injuries and traumas should always go immediately to the emergency department. Reserve your spot online now with ER Express. Visit ariahealth.com ariahealth.org/ER-express. That's ariahealth.org/ER-express.
Strong starts are essential on the field and in life. That's why PNC created the Grow Up Great program, a $350 million multi-year bilingual initiative that began in 2004 to help prepare children from birth to age 5 for success in school and life. PNC is helping children in our community more than ever grow up great. Learn more at pncgrowupgreat.com. PNC for the achiever in you. PNC Bank, member FDIC.
It is rivalry week as the Pennsbury Falcons get set for the Neshaminy Redskins. We have the game for you on WBCB, and looking forward to that one as always. It is the premier matchup, I think, in the Suburban One League. Each and every season, it seems like. But even before we get into the Neshaminy Redskins, we've seen a lot of Nassan Robbins this season, but he was not able to go last week.
No.
What's his situation for this coming game?
He had a little bit of a, as they say, lower body injury, and but we got some just good news recently, so we think he'll be back on board with us, and obviously Joe Megan did a great job filling in, and he's more than just a fill. And we're kind of like, we knew all along at that position we'd be running back by committee, so it's a nice committee. They're two nice players. So
and again, before we get to the Redskins, talk about how Zach DeMarcus has come on for you throughout this season, and again, playing well in that second half, and gave his team a chance maybe for that final opportunity to win that game. And he's been doing a nice job throwing the football and running a new offense for Pennsbury.
yeah, absolutely. And Zach got a little bit behind the 8 ball with his start. He had an injury and kind of missed a lot of training time with us. So we all said we're throwing him in the second game of the season against a really good LaSalle team. And so since then, it's been all kind of like baby steps forward. And just the offense in general. Our kids are, from receivers to quarterbacks to offensive linemen, kind of get understanding the nuances. I think the basics that they kind of get, but there's so many small little nuances that I think, and Zach's kind of growing more and more in that role.
Coach, your defense has kept you in so many games this season. Well, when you see the Neshaminy offense, what are you particularly concerned about? What are you guys keying on? Is there with a team like Neshaminy, is there one thing you are able to try to shut down, or do you have to kind of try to shut everything down, or at least have a plan for each scenario?
Yeah, they have a lot of weapons. They spread the ball around, and Coach Wilmot does a great job in his staff, and starts with the quarterback. He's got a lot of decision-making ability in the offense, and we feel like we want to try to limit his decisions and get some of their weapons kind of tied down and get people around them and force them to do things that they're not used to doing, and so that's kind of the overall game plan.
Pressure on the quarterback can make that happen, and a guy like Michael Gabora, that we've talked about him on our WBCB broadcast throughout the season. It seems like he's often in the backfield of your opposition, making big plays, and he and the other guys along that front line have got to come up big.
Yeah, Mike, I got to nominate all league players, and his name's already in. He's had a tremendous season, and tackle for losses, sacks, creating pressures, leadership, quiet leader. But they do a good job of throwing the ball fast, so it's hard to get there. But if you can get them off schedule, then I think we can turn guys like Mike loose and Jazz from the other end, and some of the guys inside they can create some quick pressure. We've rushed the passer pretty well over the course of the season.
So the Neshaminy offense, a lot of weapons. How about defensively for Neshaminy? What are you concerned about as far as the defensive personnel? Which groups do you think are strongest, or which players are you guys concerned about on the offensive side?
Well, again, Coach French does a good job. On tape over the years they've defended the wing tee, and now we're trying to get a feel for how they might defend us. And we look back as far as our old Ben Salem tapes years ago, where they were running the same stuff, and they've changed a little bit since then. But we're trying to find teams that are similar to us in style that they've gone against, and we have a pretty good feel for the basics of what they're going to try to do.
Well, a big week for Pennsbury and Neshaminy as they get ready to tangle in high school football. We'll step aside one more time and continue here with the Dan McShane Show. Great to have you with us here on WBCB.
Wherever weights are racked, rackets are swung.
To move is to live. And wherever you find bodies in motion, you'll find people who've rebuilt their lives with the help of Rothman Institute.
Balls are pitched, skates are laced.
More bones repaired, more joints replaced. No body in our region has done more for more bodies than Rothman.
Lawns are mowed, swings are pushed.
So when you're ready to run again, ride again, move again, live again, think Rothman first. RothmanInstitute.com.
Merrill Reese, here to tell you about my good friends at Haldeman Ford Subaru on Route 33 in Hamilton Township. For outstanding sales and service, you can depend on the folks at Haldeman Ford Subaru for the best value on new and pre-owned Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs, along with a great selection of value-priced new and pre-owned Subarus. And no one offers the service that Haldeman does in their huge, state-of-the-art service facility. Service so great that many area municipalities and commercial fleets get their service performed by Haldeman Ford Subaru. From Langhorne to Princeton, folks like you to commercial fleets trust the name Haldeman for sales and service. Haldeman Ford Subaru, Route 33 in Hamilton Township. Merrill Reese here to tell you about our good friends at McCaffreys Food Markets. McCaffreys is growing and is now open in Doylestown and Bluebell. But Jim McCaffrey and his family never forget their roots, and that's why they continue to support our local schools and are proud to support Pennsbury and Council Rock and other schools in the area. Many students are employed at McCaffrey's, and McCaffrey's Food Markets feature the finest prepared food department for those always on the go. From healthy salads to prime cuts of steak and fresh seafood dishes, you'll always find something for your family to enjoy in McCaffrey's prepared food department. And for everyday exceptional value, it's McCaffrey's Food Markets, locally owned and operated by Jim McCaffrey and his family in the Edgewood Village Shopping Center, 635 Heacock Road in Yardley, in the villages of Newtown, 2890 South Eagle Road, also in Princeton, West Windsor, and now open in Doylestown and Bluebell.
The Pennsbury Falcons still with a chance to get into playoff football this season, and it comes down to this gigantic game, the big matchup between the Neshaminy Redskins and the Pennsbury Falcons. As you mentioned earlier, that Neshaminy needed the win. They got the victory last year. Why not this year for the Pennsbury Falcons?
I could still see them at the end of the game last year. The game was over, and they were. And credit to the coaching staff again over there. I mean, they had a lot of pressure on them. And as we're down in our end zone, the game's over last year, and looking back, and we're feeling pretty down and seeing how happy they were. And I kind of, I told the kids I want our kids to experience that it's very easily within our grasp.
Well, what do you think some of the keys are that your team has to do in order to make that upset possible?
Well, number one, I think, we got to play well defensively. It always starts there for us. And over the years against the Chamonix, we've had a fair amount of success. So, we got to start there and really limit their big plays. And, the running back does a nice job. He's a physical runner. We want to try to, limit. Last year had a bunch of yards against us, so we want to try to limit that. And then offensively, again, if we can just kind of try to play a little bit of forward score maybe and run the ball and mount the clock. And maybe we had an explosive play last week on the pass down the middle of the field against Abington for a long touchdown. So we're trying to develop more explosive kind of plays in our offense. Otherwise, it's 12, 14 plays. And the NFL teams will break down to 12 and 14 plays, penalties and mistakes, things like that. So we're trying to get some more explosives in there.
Well, we talk about the offense, we talk about the defense, but special teams, another big part of any football game and any victory. Talk a little bit about some of the guys on special teams that have made contributions there that maybe they don't get as much credit as the guys on offense or defense, but special teams always a big factor and will be certainly on Friday night.
Absolutely, as they say, it's 1/3 of the football game. So, and we've had a couple touchdown returns this year. There's been Nate Boston, and we've covered kicks well. Trying to get, we tell our kids the biggest play in football is the punt, so we want to make sure that we don't have any punts blocked. We like to block a punt, so, we're going to try to make something happen there. We got to try to, it's no guts, no glory here on this one. So we told the kids it's all hands on deck, and our best players are going to play special teams and offense and defense. So.
Well, they're going to leave it all on the field, and we'll have the game for you on WBCB. Coach McShane, thank you so much for being my guest here on the Dan McShane Show, and Pennsbury football coming up here on WBCB as they take on the Chamonix Redskins. We look forward to this game each and every season, and hopefully we'll see a good game with an exciting finish. That's what I always root for, the exciting finish at the end of the game. But
Keeps the viewers hanging around.
Absolutely, and it brings our ratings up a little bit, I guess. But again, thank you, Coach McShane. Thanks to everybody at the Pennsbury channel. Thanks to Jack Spears alongside as well. Coming up, Pennsbury football now on WBCB.